Hello everybody, welcome back at Sport Federation TV, where we talk about what's happening with the world of sport in the Western Cape. Across the districts, of course, you see the Western Cape logo there behind me right now. In fact, I'm wearing the provincial logo also. Coming up on the show tonight, we're going to be catching up with Chris Naude from Western Cape Climbing. We'll speak to Roxanne Clark. She's the captain of the Billie Jean King Cup, as well as from Western Cape Tennis Federation, and we'll be taking a look at what's happening in the world of Western Cape gymnastics. They've got some athletes that have really done well at the recent international championships, and we'll find out more about that during the course of the show. Folks, it's been 2 years odd since we had him in the studio. Chris Naude from Western Cape Climbing. Chris, welcome back.
It's great to be back. Thank you for having me, JP, and hi to all the viewers. I'm missing the red couch.
Yes, we were looking at setting up the red couch. Before we begin, I must just say a big thanks to you. Over the last 2 years, at least while we were doing COVID, you had no qualms about joining us on the online platform and keeping the world of climbing alive. And I think the whole sports world is grateful to you.
Well, I'm not the whole sports world being grateful to me, but I think a lot of people have faced the same challenges of trying to keep the enthusiasm going through periods when it wasn't quite so easy to train in the gyms and get and even more to travel to competitions around, which is of course for everybody that's why you're doing it.
Well, the difficult part was, I mean, when the COVID came, we didn't know if we were going to see any sport on TV. People were playing old historical clips. There were no live games. There was no action footage. And at least with you guys, we were able to speak, with you guys being leading sports administrators, you were able to talk to us about various activities, even the hardships.
Yeah.
But you guys came through. You guys came through. I wouldn't say you came through smiling like everybody else, but you persevered through the COVID structure with many activities.
I think climbing has a huge advantage in that some of the stuff is a lot of the recreational climbing part of it anyway is outdoors. So you're on your own on the mountain, and that was a huge advantage. We managed to get some good footage and nice film clips of people doing amazing things outdoors, and actually we've seen some real development in that side of climbing, with people from a lot more people from Gauteng traveling down to come and climb here in the Western Cape, so it's been actually a growth phase for us. Strangely.
But you're also one of the few sports structures that managed to grow your membership. That's a unique achievement.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure how that happened. I mean, a lot of it, we put a lot of effort into it, but it was still quite surprising to see that we hope just to keep the enthusiasm going, really.
Do you think that you made more effort on the digital side when COVID came, you had to shut down? You saw more people moving into Facebook and Instagram and spending time on that from a content point of view and a...
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we did encourage that sort of thing, and we also did a lot of online workshops and things where we spoke about nutrition or training techniques or how to keep strong in your own home as opposed to in the climbing gym. So yeah, we had quite a few online opportunities that were there.
You talk about growth in certain areas. You mentioned now that you have your outdoor space or development space increased.
Well, just in terms of the difficulty of the climbs that they're doing. A couple of years back, for a youngster to do, there's grades of climbing, and to do an 8A was a huge achievement. And
an 8A?
That's just the grade of difficulty, if you like.
You guys on the climbing, we never know all these walls and things that you've got. Okay, so you got it's a grade.
There's grades of climbs outdoors, and for somebody to do a climb of that level of difficulty was considered a huge achievement, and would have been been shouted about from the rooftops. These days, it's kind of the norm for any good climber.
Your big event, of course, was in December last year. I mean, you had the Africa Championships here. We had the Continental.
The Continental Championship this year. Last year was in Johannesburg. But then we had the national championships here in March, which was then a full-on competition again. Everyone could travel, and it worked fine. You know,
So climbing is doing quite well. I mean, when we were talking, we also one of the sports components of the discussion we were talking about was climbing at the Olympics, and so everybody had their eye focused on the Olympics. I know we spoke about this online, but you know, for the viewers maybe that haven't seen it or seen any of our previous discussions, the Olympics and the climbing aspect really put the spotlight on you guys.
Yeah. I think it was one of the more watched sports in the Olympic Games on television. I think that was largely due to curiosity. People didn't know what climbing was about, so they watched to find out what it was about. But it really did put the spotlight on us, and it made it a legit sport, as opposed to some of the views where people they see people climbers as the typical dirtbag guy with a hoodie going off into the mountains.
So what are the other competitions? I mean, there's the Olympics, Junior Olympics, World Championships. Just tell us about some of these competitions. I mean, we know that you've got a big one coming up now, but we're not going to talk too much about Dallas right now. But just give us a rundown of sort of the international competitions that are held.
So in 2018 was the first. It had been made an Olympic sport, and in 2018 the Youth Olympics happened with climbing there. South Africa had one female, one male attending that, and then last year we had the full-on Olympics, so it was the 2020 Olympics, which were actually held in 2021. And we had the Olympic Games there, and that really did bring a lot of attention to climbing. It's in 3 disciplines. There's boulder, lead, and speed, and they had all 3 of those disciplines at the Olympic Games. And of course, then there's a lot of talk about how does bouldering work. Well, you know, I see a lot of people falling off, and yet they won. And somebody else, they look at the lead climbing, and does it depend on how fast they get up there? No, it's not how fast they get up. And then speed climbing, which is the easy one, it's the equivalent of a vertical 100-meter hurdles or something. It's a sprint up a wall. The record for that is now 5 seconds, since subsequent to the Olympic Games. Just this last weekend, the Indian chap set a new world record again.
But it is impressive. I mean, I've come out to you guys at some of your venues, and I must say I was super impressed to see just how social it was. Moms and dads sitting on your mats around the climbing walls, and really looked like they were in sort of a casual, really enjoyed environment. They were able to almost be part of the process while these athletes were flying up a wall.
I think it's one of the things that I've really enjoyed. In fact, it's one of the things that got me really excited about the sport in the beginning, was the fact that it is so inclusive. Everybody cheers the opposition on, and you're not competing directly with your other competitors. It's a very indirect thing, because you're both competing on the same wall, but at different times, and everything sort of feels like you kind of want them to fall off before you do, but you want them to do well as well. So
are parents allowed to be parents or spectators? Because there's quite a close proximity there, moms and dads, they can see their kids. Are they allowed to cheer the kids on? Are they allowed to sort of instruct from the side?
Instruct, no. So it is quite difficult, and I've certainly noticed people sort of being very tempted to give direction and say, move your left hand, or that's not permissible. But cheering them on and saying, come on, you've got this, that is permissible.
Well, it does look great. I mean, the connection there it means that the parents are able to almost participate in the process. Is that a big part for you guys, is bringing parents in as volunteers to help with the administration?
I think it's one of the things that certainly our federation really depends on, is apart from the sort of usual, the boring stuff like the governance and all of that sort of stuff, it's creating the enthusiasm amongst the volunteers. Because with a good volunteer structure and a good base of people who want to come in, you really have the elements of success. And I have to say that it does create a family grouping, which, you know, the family can now go out in the weekends. They can go out to a local crag and go and climb, you know, and you get to spend lots of quality time in quality places.
We're going to talk about that in a second, folks. We've got Chris Naude from Western Cape Climbing on air with us here. We're talking specifically about the Western Cape climbing structure that's had so much success over the last few years and really flying the flag for Western Cape. We'll take a break. When we come back, we carry on talking climbing. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. It's Sport Federation TV, and you're, of course, watching us here on Cape Town TV, DStv channel 263. Every week, we take a look at what's happening with the sport federations in the Western Cape. With me in studio now, Chris Naude, Western Cape Climbing. Chris, some big events, though, coming up. It's the Youth World Championships coming up in Dallas now in the next month or so.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. So it's the first time it's been held in America, which is nice from one perspective. It's nice to see the Americans getting involved.
It's in Dallas, right?
In Dallas, in Texas. Yeah. For us, the negative part of that is that flights are expensive, and you know, so it is a more expensive trip than some of the others have been. So, but nevertheless, we're looking forward to sending.
So just tell us about the Worlds. I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean for South Africa, Western Cape athletes? Who's going? What do you need to do to get there?
So, to simplify it, the top three in each discipline and age group are eligible to go
bold, lead and speed.
Boulder, lead and speed, and then male, female. So that's what the competition
I'm starting
is
to
going
speak the climbing lingo now. I've got the bold. I still don't know which one's which, but Boulder.
So that's what's happening in Dallas, and we've got 7 athletes from the Western Cape going, which is pretty cool. We're very happy with that. And
this is the Youth World Championships.
Youth World Championships, and you are really competing against some really good climbers in the world. So the top youngsters of the world are out there doing this, and it's a sport like some other sports where the youngsters are equally as good as some of the older climbers. You know, they're climbing as hard. So it's a tough environment.
7 athletes from the Western Cape flying the flag for South Africa.
Well, there's some from Gauteng and KZN as well, and 1 from Eastern Cape. So we've got a fair distribution, which is great. It's been a fun time preparing for it, and trying to get the coach who's going over is from Western Cape. Tiffany, you've spoken to her before.
Yes, Tiffany Wells. She's been in studio with us before. She's of course local coach here in Cape Town. Yeah,
so she's going over, and Chris Allen, our performance manager, is also going over with the team.
Talking about performance, you guys have also done quite a lot of collective sharing from a high performance point of view, sharing of knowledge. I think you call this a collab. You've had expert coaches and nutrition. Tell us a little bit about that.
So, I mean, we started that off, and as with all of the things in any sport, really, funding is always an issue. And Chris had some really good ideas about bringing everything together and trying to get some of his contacts and other people that we know. Some of the people we've had more structured approach to it, where they're there for a longer period. And we've had to find funding for that. But when we've managed to get some people to volunteer their time for workshops and so on, to come and talk to us on a whole variety of topics. So we've not restricted it just to climbing technique or anything like that.
What would you say have been the top topics? We know that you also did some mental health workshops as well.
So we've done things like sleep. We had I can't remember the name now. From the Sports Science Institute, who's a sleep expert, talking to about sleep patterns for performance.
Sleep important for performance?
And also to avoid jet lag.
Yes, okay.
You know, when you get, well, not to avoid jet lag, but how to cope with it when you get there. So all of those sort of things. We've had nutritionists, we've had the mental aspect of the game. We've had 2 different approaches. So we've had sports psychologists talking
Wow.
to,
So
to
you
the
really have
to the
ticked the high
parents
performance.
and the kids. And we've also engaged the services of some of the contacts that we've had in other top climbers around the world,
Yeah.
and interviewed them, and that's coming up soon for the climbers as well. So they'll be able to listen to the views of other top climbers in the world about how to prepare yourself best for this competition. So I think we're better prepared than we've been in the past, and hopefully that...
Well, you say it is an expensive exercise. I mean, so one of the things that we've seen you guys quite active on, which unfortunately is the world of sport, is fundraising. But you've got the team behind it, and you're running some campaigns to help the athletes raise funds for the Worlds.
I think it's a team effort. So each individual is doing what they can to raise money for, to get themselves to the event. And the federation is we feel we need to do as much as we can.
Yeah.
We don't believe it's just government's responsibility to send us.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice, but
tell us
practically speaking, that's not realistic.
Tell me a little bit about the campaign itself, because when I see the pictures on Instagram, I think I can win some prizes. There's a whole...
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of suppliers that support, that supply to the climbing industry. There is some climbing specific equipment that one needs, and the suppliers of that, plus general outdoor suppliers.
So how do I enter? How do I put myself in the mix to win these prizes?
You can go to our website and click on the button that says buy a ticket here, and you can. We've also pitched in for some funding. So the main prize is 2 tickets to Europe.
Wow. Okay.
That's air tickets.
Yeah. So is that how the fundraising works? Is it's a ticket process?
So it's being run on Quicket. It's done through with the approval of the National Lotteries Commission.
Right.
And it's run on Quicket. So if you go to Quicket and you look for...
So the more tickets you sell, the more funds you're going to be able to raise.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, so this is Western Cape Climbing raising funds for the kids that are going to the Youth World Championships.
Not just the kids.
Not just the kids, management, coaches.
But we have split it up in I'm not going to go into too much detail with that, but we also want to, in the bit longer term, have funds to bring international coaches and route setters and to try and expose our climbing community, our competition climbing community, as best we can to the expertise that's around the rest of the world too.
So it's 250 Rand a ticket, and I can go to Quicket and do a search for Western Cape Climbing.
Yeah.
Or I can go to your website.
You can go to our website and
www.westerncapeclimbing.co.za.
That's it.
And if I buy a ticket, I'm in the mix to either win some climbing equipment, possibly even 2 tickets to Europe.
So there's tickets to Europe. There's each of the climbing suppliers have given us vouchers, typically about 10,000 Rands worth of outdoor gear, if you like, which is cool. And we've limited the number of tickets that can be sold. So
so it's not a...
So it's not going to just keep going forever. So I think you stand a very good, a better chance than in a lotto type thing. Where
so if I want to buy a ticket, I must buy it soon.
Absolutely.
All right.
The closing date is the end of the month.
End of the month, okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll be sold out by the end of the show. So, Chris, it's been fantastic to have you in the studio. We're so proud of Western Cape Climbing. I was privileged enough to be at your capping ceremony with your Western Cape athletes. Yeah. You guys do an incredible job. You and the and Jeff Mayer and the squad and the team that you've got at climbing. Really well done. We take our hats off to you guys. Yeah. You're a fantastic squad.
Thank you very much. It's been great, and hopefully it won't only be the funding that takes off, but we want to see all the school sports masters come and talk to us about how they can start a climbing club.
Yes, so we can of course put up climbing walls at schools.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's the ultimate objective. Thank you.
Right, folks, there we go. Western Cape Climbing with Chris Naude. What an incredible sport. And yes, go and visit Quicket, www.quicket.co.za, or the website westerncapeclimbing.co.za, and get behind this fundraising initiative for Western Cape Climbing, raising funds for the Youth World Championships as well as other initiatives at Western Cape Climbing. As Chris said, if you're in the education sector, you're a headmaster watching the show right now, why don't you think about putting up a climbing wall at your school? In fact, if you're a municipality, you could also go put up a climbing wall at your school. Folks, we'll take, not at your school, at your club. Folks, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll carry on talking sport in the province. Don't go away.